Hello everyone, my name is Remy and today I'm going to talk about the evolution of sales in the music industry through time and more precisely through the different ages that we have experienced. There is a lot of interesting data to analyze on this subject and this is what we will see right away. So it's no surprise for anyone the music industry has gone through a lot of changes over the years. Analyzing sales data from the US music industry is a fascinating exercise because it shows the rise and fall of record company profits, but also changes in technology and consumer behavior. We will talk about technologies from the past, including 8-track. There were magnetic tapes often used as car radio equipment in the 60s. Also vinyl records, we listen to music thanks to a record player, and the cassette, which made it possible to listen to music thanks to two-wheel wound in a magnetic tape. Concerning the recent technologies, we are going to talk about the CDs that have been very successful in the world of music. Also, MP3 is very useful for listening to music in any place, and of course the arrival of audio streaming platforms which have caused a major upheaval in the world of music. So in the first graph, we analyze the evolution of the American music industry's revenue over 40 years. We can see that after 1978, 8-track sales were in the minority. They generate about $3 billion to the music industry, and then 8-track sales decreased sharply due to the dominance of vinyl. Vinyl sales remain the main source of profit for the music industry in the 80s. On the other hand, in 1985, cassette took power and their sales rose dramatically. They experienced good growth even after the first appearance of the CD. And obviously, with the appearance of CDs and the good sales of cassettes, sales of vinyl decreased sharply until the year 1990. We can see that CD sales increased sharply from 1990, and the craze is so great that in 2000 CD sales spiked to $18 billion and represent 95% of the music industry revenue. And it's important to understand that the CD is a revolution because the sound quality is better than on vinyl. We can note the first phenomenon: CD sales declined gradually with the progressive arrival of MP3, but also streaming platform. And the second interesting phenomenon is the fact that vinyl are gradually coming back on the market to compete with CDs. So, on the second graph, we will explain the first phenomenon. We can easily guess that for 30 years, the American music industry generated its revenues from the sale of music in physical format. This includes vinyls, CDs, cassettes, and this is what we saw in the previous graph. We note that after the launch of Napster in the 2000s, but also after the launch of the iTunes Store around 2005, sales of music in physical format declined gradually. Napster was a peer-to-peer file sharing service. It specialized in sharing audio file in MP3 format. And the effect of piracy on the music industry has been very brutal, and sales of physical formats has given way to digital sales, especially around 2010. It took some time for consumers to prepare to pay for premium music subscription, but today streaming music through streaming platforms is now the most common music format in the United States. So we could say, is this the end of the physical formats? And it's probably true. CD sales have fallen by 80% over the last decade, and today sales of physical formats represent only 17% of the music industry revenue. But there may still be hope for physical sales. We will now explain the second phenomenon that we note on the first graph. This is the big comeback of vinyl sales. With the arrival of streaming platform, we thought that vinyl was dead, that nobody would buy it anymore, and yet this last graph shows us the opposite. This is interesting. We know that in more than 10 years, vinyl sales increased sharply with almost $19 million in revenues generated. In 2006, the start was sluggish, but then sales have grown well to this day. And we will try now to explain why vinyl is coming back in our music stores today. And according to Nielsen report, vinyl records will represent for 19% of album sales in the US, which is rather significant if you exclude streaming and downloads. This strange return of vinyl records can be explained quite easily. People increasingly want to reconnect with music in a more physical and a more personal way. So it's no question of listening, but also of feeling, touching, and appropriating music through an aesthetic object. The trend is towards slow listening, which consists of listening to record in their entirety without zapping from one track to another, and all generations come together around the turntable. The crack of the grooves, the deep breath, and the warmth of the sound provide unique emotions. The return of vinyl is more than a fashion effect, it fills a gap in a world that become too virtual. And we can firmly see the return of vinyl as a wave of nostalgia. So, in conclusion, it's important to remember two things. The first thing is that evolution of technology often has a very strong impact on the way people listen to music, on the way they consume music. The emergence of new music technologies is changing people relationship with music, and this is having an impact on the evolution of sales in the music industry. And the second thing is that despite the dominance of music in digital form, CDs has not disappeared, and we've seen that even vinyls are coming back on the market. It means that physical albums still have a bright future ahead of them despite the dominance of digital album. Here are websites I use for my research. All graphics are official and represent data from reliable sources. Thank you for your attention and keep listening to music. It's proven to be good for your health. Bye.